Hello. How goes it? How goes it for you, Tandy? Tandy, correct my memory, but did you buy a house? I think I remember someone, I'm not sure if it was you, that someone bought a house earlier in the year. I am doing well. I ate a maple and peanut butter sandwich, so I'm feeling actually pretty sweet. I was actually attempting to go and eat some cereal that was coated with honey. Well, not honey, but coated with sugar. But somehow I was stopped from that. Oh, you did not? Oh, it must be someone else I was thinking of. Well, I'm not a fan of peanut butter, but I am a fan of maple. So, had like something I really liked with something I kind of could see it as either way. But it had maple on it, so maple makes everything better. I actually think if I had chips and if I put chips on maple, it would be good. Or if I put spinach with maple, probably even if I put raw kale with maple syrup, I'm sure I could probably eat the raw kale. It would be a little hard to eat the raw kale, admittedly, because raw kale is not only not that tasty, but it's also kind of tough to eat. But with maple syrup, I'm sure like anything can be powered through with maple syrup, even raw kale. That's how much I like maple syrup. But of course, it has to be on something edible, right? Like you can't put maple syrup on a shoe or on a pillowcase, it won't work. Anyway, my musings on maple syrup. And probably, it has to be actually on human food, like it can't be on cat food. Anyway, let me see what else. I hear you, little cat. He has many things to say. He wants to go and eat one of my other kitties. He says, let me eat him, just a little bite. Say, no, you can't bite the other kitty. He says, I am the boss kitty. I deserve to bite, to set the rules. I say, no, we have no biting of kitties here. So let's go and get started. After all, my bad kitty in the clink is already having plenty to go and share. Let me go and do this one more time because now all I'm thinking about is how much he wants to go and bite my other kitty. It's the two boy cats. One is very, very determined to be alpha. And in this household, we have no alphas. Well, if we do, then it's the girl cats. Definitely not the boy cats. Boy cats just sit there and look cute. Anyway, let's go and get a message. I have High Priestess with 10 of Pentacles, bottom of the deck energy. Ace of Pentacles and Death under that. Blessings are coming. Anticipated blessings that took a little time to come through. New blessings are coming through. So, that High Priestess missing. What is missing? Water. Of course, High Priestess is a water sign, typically Pisces, but could also apply to the other signs. Could apply to Cancer, obviously, could also reference Scorpio energy too. So I have missing water and worth waiting for. What has been missing? A change of heart has been missing. Consistency and commitment, a follow through could be missing. And it's a good thing. Blessing in disguise, whatever has been missing, you don't need it. I'll take that. With water. Something is changing within weeks. Of course, I do believe Cancer season also starts in about a month. Summer solstice starts in a month. We have something within weeks. Snake, so we have a timing card, well, a reference card. Snake, we're in the year of the snake, 2025. Could also be someone born in the year of the snake. Could also be someone quite eye-catching. Something quite fluid could be happening regarding water itself. Do you have a rainy season? Perhaps there's going to be something that brings you closer to water as well. Where there's water, as long as it's not the ocean, where there's water, there is typically snakes. Might as well add that too. Although I say that, but I go around water. I haven't gone around water so much this year, but previously I spent a lot of time around water. And oddly enough, it's the hardest thing for me to see snakes. I don't know why. I saw a snake last week, though. I saw it last Tuesday. A little baby snake. It went under the stone gazebo where I imagine it must live. And you know, snakes are territorial and they're generational. If one snake likes a spot, I guarantee you there's like 40 more snakes in that area. And wherever the baby snake grows up, like the baby snake will stay there and then it'll raise its own clutch of eggs, and you'll have snake families. So definitely when you see snakes, know that that snake has other snakes. They're like mice. Where there's one mouse, there's two mices. And where there's snakes and one snake, there are more snakesies. So also, if you ever come to an area and you're like, oh, I see a snake in my yard, or I see a snake in my house, or I see a snake over here, over there, you're never going to get rid of that snake. I'm just adding that as well. Because, I have experience with this. This is another tangent, but I actually rented a house, unfortunately. Did I rent it for a year? Did I rent it for 2 years? I probably only rented it for a year. I could have rented it for 2 years. I don't know. I was a student and I was really hassled by my classes. And I also worked full time. And I was getting into like 1,000,001 arguments with my professors, like crazy. But so I don't quite remember whether it was 1 year or 2 years. And it was cold that year. But the main point is I rented a house during either that year or 2 years, and it was infested with snakes. I was so busy that I didn't really pay attention. And also during that time, I spent a lot of time working overnight on campus in my labs and stuff like that. So it took me actually 4 to 6 months to realize that my house was infested with snakes. And I have to tell this story now that I started pulling up the snakes. With the snakes, at the time I was doing a lot of multimedia projects, like both personally for my school, for my work, and then also just for my own art. So not only did I have the stuff that I bought, but I also had stuff that I rented. And I was constantly going. I think I had like 3, and I had stuff from my job. I had laptops, I had camcorders, I had tons of extension cords, I had microphones, I had lights, and I had tons of wires, all sorts of wires. I had USB cords. I had outdoor quality extension cords for things that you could put, like that 4-prong stuff or 3-prong stuff. Anyway, I had tons and tons of wires. And of course, you can guess where this goes. Every time it got to the point when I just came home, like basically every other day to my place, and I would just dump like a huge pile of equipment on the floor, and then I would pick up another pile and I would run out the house. Because I had to go and also keep this is my stuff, this is the work stuff, this is the stuff I rented from this library, this stuff I rented from this lab, etc., etc., etc. And then one day I went to pick up the wires, an extension cord, and it moved in multiple directions, and there were a pile of snakes nested in my extension cords and computer equipment. It was a pile, it was all coiled up and whatnot, and there were black snakes all in it. It was more than one. They were just out there in either the kitchen or the dining room. It was like a 2-bedroom that I was renting. It was a big place. It was cold, but it was a big place. And apparently the odd thing is, before I actually picked up the wire and I realized it wasn't a wire, it was a snake. I had heard when I would come back at night, like around 10 p.m., 11 p.m., midnight, 1 a.m. And when I would go and also too, during this time, I was so tired. I also had classes in which I was learning how to weld. So every time I would come back and I'd have to go and also wash all that metal suit and whatnot out of my hair and stuff like that and off my skin, I would hear hissing. The whole house would be quiet and I would hear hissing. And I thought it was the weirdest sound. I thought I must be hearing things, like maybe this is just spirits or whatever. I mean, I'm not paying attention, because if I am hearing hissing, it must be in my head. But apparently, no, the snakes were all infested in my heating system. They were all along the baseboards of the house. They were all in the openings, and the whole place was infested with snakes. And the snakes apparently do speak. They do hiss. They just randomly hiss. Snakes communicate. They communicate by hissing. I can confirm that. And they also are most likely to go and hiss in the late night hours. And the oddest thing, too, at that time, I had my kitty, and the oddest thing with my cat, I never allowed him, like now I don't care, but I never allowed him to be on the kitchen counters or the kitchen table and stuff like that. And with my cat, he never liked to be on the floor. He was always jumping on something. He acted like the floor was with lava. And he always was anxious to get up to the counters. At first I was scolding him. I was like, oh, whatever, what does it matter? I know that there are no mousies up there. And yeah, so he also knew for quite a while that there were snakes. And he always looked at me with these big, big eyes. And I was like, what is this? But I was so busy, as I said, so hassled, I was running around. And I tried not to go and stay out. I tried to come home every night, not like stay out overnight, because I was also spending lots of time working. Like I would spend 3 or 4 days at a time without sleep. But anyway, during that time, that's when I found out after about 4 months of that schedule that my place was infested with snakes. And then I looked at the other piles, and then there were snakes in those. And apparently, because I kept some of the things plugged in, they were warm. So the snakes would come in there and they get warm off the equipment or warm off the wires. And yeah, the whole place was infested with snakes. So a place can be infested with snakes. Take my word for it. And where there is one snake, there is many snakes, and there are little snakes and big snakes, all kind of snakes, and they are family. You will never change that snake's family's mind to go elsewhere. So if you see a place that you know there are snakes, I would just leave it, unless you like living with snakes. I moved out. I didn't move out as soon as you would think I'd move out, learning that there were snakes there. Like I couldn't move out like the next month or something. But I think I moved out relatively soon after, maybe a couple months later. Anyway, that's my story about snakes. I still don't mind seeing snakes though, but outside. I definitely wouldn't like to go and see snakes inside. And ever since that time, I never keep wires now. Like you may say, oh, an extension cord. First of all, I like my wires like different colors, like obviously electrical Black & Decker type of colors. Not that I have against anything who has pet snakes or, snakes in general. I just, don't want snakes in my house, that's all. But yeah, still remember. And you know what the worst thing was? I had bare feet because I take off my shoes by the door. So all that time I was just there, bare feet, just stepping alongside these snakes. And these snakes were obviously so used to me that they were there going, oh, we're just hanging out here. No need to move. They were just there like, you're chill, you're doing your thing. We're doing our thing. This is a communal space. I guess those snakes were really chill with me, but certainly was not my intention. So many snakes, no joke. And I think that pile, it probably was there for no more than I didn't leave the pile there for weeks. Maybe each pile would remain untouched for about 3 days at the longest. So the snake just went from one pile to another pile to another pile, and there were a bunch of them. Anyway, yeah. And by the way, that little ribbon snake that I tried to catch, it literally was just a ribbon. It was like that big. It was very thin. Like these snakes that were there, they were not ribbons. They were garden hoses and thicker than extension cords. Maybe there were like 3 extension cords put together. They were like real snakes, not little baby snakes. You know, when you're dealing with a snake, not a little baby snake, it's a whole other thing.
There's a pencil in here.
Okay. Anyway, so yeah, that's like a story about snakes. I've also lived in a place that was infested with flying squirrels, and that same place had Norwegian rats. That's what inspired me to get more cats. I feel like there were other things. Oh, I've also lived in a place that it was infested with bats too. Norwegian rats are really big, and those big things, they into holes the size of a quarter. Big. Anyway, yes, I've had a place that were like infested with lots of things. And all these places that I were in were very pretty. Like the one that was infested by snakes, as I said, it was a big place. I wasn't paying. It was on the expensive side, and one half of the whole place was all glass. Really wide open rooms. The water sucked. The hot water sucked, but the place itself was beautiful. And the place that was infested by Norwegian rats and flying squirrels, that was also a very beautiful place. But yeah, just because, you know, it may look nice and you may pay a lot for it, it could still be a dump when you get in there. Can you imagine being in a place and hearing snake hisses all night long? Literal snake hisses. And then, of course, with flying squirrels chitter all night long. I don't know why snakes and rodents are nocturnal and make all this noise at night. Like, why can't they make it during the daytime? Why do they have to do it when you're trying to get some sleep? If you were inclined to sleep at night. Anyway, if you ever hear hissing, don't think it's just something in your head. I'd actually start looking at your heating, your HVAC system, and maybe like your floorboards and stuff like that. Snake hisses are loud too, by the way. Real loud. Anyway, months. And respect. Well, something is generating and it's taking a really long time to come through. I've forgotten now if Weeks is probably connected with water. I have change that's coming, and it took a while for that change to work its way through. And it'll be worth it. Let's see, why will it be worth it? Sphinx, Runner, Monkey, Tears of Remorse. Well, how do you feel about vindication? Is vindication even worth it? Is knowing you're right, or you were right, or what you suspected to be true, is it worth getting hard evidence of that? Because that's what's generating in your energy. Someone that it's a good thing you weren't involved in is pretty close to coming by and telling you that you were right, that your suspicions were right. Not quite in that energy, but with whatever they have to say by the time, excuse me, all the dust settles, you'll be like, I suspected that. I knew that. It's a good thing. That didn't happen, or that didn't get more intricately involved than it needed to be. You know, sometimes you're in a situation and you kind of have to get involved, but you wish you didn't, but you know that you need it. And then there are other things that didn't come through, and you're like, well, you know, I did need something, but when I look back at it, it's a good thing it never went through, or at least didn't go through for that long, because it would have been a lousy situation. That's the kind of energy I have here with this high priestess. I'm not going to bother clarifying that high priestess anymore. We're just going to go on to the next message. After I flip these over, get them all in the same level. Let's get another message. Two of Swords. Stillness. And a lot of work where you're not quite sure, where will that lead to? This is like putting out energy into a black void, not really building anything up. Where will your effort take you? Where will your effort get you? Is this laboring just simply for the sake of laboring, because laboring is what's currently asked of you? Possible. Ashamed. Surprise. And missing. I'm going to pull three more. ashamed, surprised, and missing. And no, I'm not pulling these to clarify the Two of Swords, the Ten of Wands, or the Hermit energy. This is just accompanying, building out the message. I already have working in a black void, putting work not really towards future, but just towards the immediacy, work for the sake of working. It's not necessarily like it's setting any seeds, any growth that you can reap or benefit from later. Those are the tarot. Ashamed, surprised, and missing. Looks like something is possibly coming up as you're working in this very immediate type of energy, working for the sake of working, not really. Well, it's not clear that what you're doing actually will have a result that you can benefit from later. But perhaps there is with surprise. Perhaps. My surprise card doesn't hold bad things, I will say that. I have enough bad cards in here to speak for themselves. So I have enemy, I have couch potato, and I have bloodthirsty. Gee. Making the bare minimum effort and yet hot on your trail. I'm going to say it's a good thing you are running around involved in immediacy, because something not nice is on your tail. Something not nice but lazy. He's watching your hard work. Something not nice and lazy, and knowing the hard work that you put out is coveting what you do, what you have. I have she. Well, I told you I had plenty of bad cards. We didn't have to make surprise a bad one. New moon, new start, new moon, I think is coming up. Is it the end of this week or beginning of next? It comes around the 20 somethings, 23rd, 21st, somewhere around there. And stingy. Now I am going to pull one more card. Oops, those 3 cards came out. I'm not going to take them. I'm going to pull one card on surprise. And I'm going to pull one card on new moon. Not a lot of options right now that's coming your way. Not a lot of options, so therefore I see this energy of sort of working for the sake of being involved in very immediate type of projects or concerns, not really having a chance to build out positive groundwork that you can build on. I don't quite see that changing as of right now. It's the energy that's around you, and if anything, you just need to go and work through it. new moon is, an opportunity is going to come up shortly. It's like in this energy, you have to choose between the lesser of two evils and also keep yourself balanced as you're in almost this mindless type of work energy. It's a phase. For whatever reason, there's a phase that you have to go and work through. Don't lose faith. Keep your standards up, power through it. And I would say that more changes are coming. Also, too, when those changes appear and approach to them, even if one looks better than the other, or maybe, if they both kind of look the same, I think in this energy, I would jump. Because the energy is kind of not all that great all the way around. But you do need to go and make the movements, make the smallest movements that you can. So therefore, my recommendation would be jump. Even if it's from one small thing or one inadequate thing to another inadequate thing, better to go to a new situation than remain in time longer in a toxic situation. The energy that I have here, the message I have here is for you to uphold your standards. Things are going to get better. Understand and don't think if I work hard enough or if I prove myself to a certain extent, I'm going to be treated better. Know that the circumstances that you're in, the energy is not really going to change from one of disrespect to respect. There are more opportunities coming, and definitely take them. This is not a case of the devil you know is better than the devil you don't know. It all sucks. And if you know definitely one situation is not good, then go off to a new situation and cut it off. Don't give it any more life. There are changes that are going to be popping up for you shortly. Small changes, and small changes right now are the steps you'll have to make. If you donate $15 CMAC, I can pull 3 cards for you. You can do that either through Cash App or buy me a coffee. Otherwise, I invite you to enjoy the collective readings that I provide for everyone. You're welcome. I do believe I did some general collective messages too, early this morning and also yesterday. I think I did 3 sets of collective readings between today and yesterday, not including this one. Really? Estrangement, in some ways, is silent communication. Well, psychic silent communication, especially when you have bonds. And what kind of bond, what stronger bonds are there than the ones of family? Especially a mother and her child, where you were already communicating, spent almost a year communicating without words. I don't quite remember the messages that I had this morning. I do the reading so much that I don't hold on to the energy. Maybe there's like a faint aftertaste, but it's very, very faint. I try not to hold on to it. It wouldn't be good for me to hold on to it. We'll go and get another message. And of course, if anyone would like a personal message, I'm available for mini reads. We can go more in depth in something. And we can just sit back and see what's generating in general in the energy. And with that being said, I'm going to pull on this message. Block. That block. Family blocked. And what seems like a happy, cohesive unit is either quite fractured or the head is nuts. Dark. Actually, I'm going to throw a card on dark. Dark. Oh, dark energy. Who knows your name? Hidden intentions that know your name. Dark vibrations that know your name. Air. Whatever is being said is not the best, and someone is disregarding a connection. You're saying that was so long ago, that was so many nights ago. That was just that one instance. And now it means nothing to me. Someone is emphatic on that. I'm not going to clarify error one night. I'm just going to go and add some more cards to it. So I'm actually going to take this knows your name, go like that to it. And let's see what else. Full moon. So full moon is interesting because although it's blocked, although it's just one night, it's not over. And the resurgence of this issue not just comes back to light again, but also comes back seasonally, comes back over and over and over again. You can go and blot it out. You can go and disparage it. You can go and say it was nothing. But it cycles, and the cycles won't end. The connection won't end. Wooden spoon, starvation. Not feeding it, thinking, soon it will go back into dust from which it came from. I think I'll pull 2 tarot and wrap up this message. What I do have I have someone who's rather nutty. Someone who also thinks if they rephrase the narrative of what is, then that becomes truth. Either that person is in poverty right now, or they see you, expect you to be in poverty right now. They do dislike your success. It's not really hate about you, especially with wooden spoon. It's the hate of your successes, the hate that proves that with or without the support of the community, the support of the family, you still get ahead. And that's almost like a poverty mindset. But what they hate is success that's achieved without them. Hierophant, definitely. That family could have very significant do I say traits? Do I say behaviors? Do I say rituals? Do I say a strong a strong figurehead? One person's rules dictates how the rest act. And it's all done about separation. Basically, there's someone who you are trying to reach out to who's the head of the household that will be on deaf ears. I do feel head of the household. Hierarchy, ritualistic heads of the household. That person is kind of nuts. Of course, I guess we're all nuts in our own way. But their behavior is not about to change. Their attitudes are not about to change. And they very much do hate any success that you achieve on your own without their input, without their support. Basically, everything you've achieved on your own outside of them, they detest. They detest your independent success. They detest your independent path. So don't feel too bad that you are not supported by that person who upholds the rules or mores of a society, of a unit, of a family, because all that they are is basically threatened by success that proves there's other ways of achieving success, other ways of living than the one that they chose to use, they chose to follow. Go on to another message. I do have apology there. I'm going to say calculating gold spoon and apology. What I'm seeing right now is that this person will continue to buckle down on their stance, but with calculating gold spoon and apology, if you are worth it enough, or maybe not if, when you are worth it enough, then an apology will come, but that apology will not be sincere. That apology will be precisely because of what they can gain. How valuable you are and how much they could get. Even if it's by association. It doesn't necessarily have to be anything tangible. You know, like some of your gold. It could just be the novelty. And then to be connected with your success. It could be in energy like that. Get another message. Change of heart. What is that change of heart? Before I pull, I want to know what kind of heart was it? A heart that was blocked off. A heart that could not communicate their adoration or did not see anything to admire. Could be an air sign as well. Now they see much to admire. Now they see incalculable things to admire. That's what that change of heart is. Before, they couldn't see anything. They also didn't have the words to form anything positive. But now they very much do see admiration. And with that admiration, that inspires in this person greed. They hunger for what you could offer. Hunger for what you could offer. That change of heart has thoughtful. Well, now I have to go and take a little peek into thoughtful too. Just a little peek into thoughtful. Because that change of heart has sawdust all over it. Not particularly bad, but it's not good. not good with greed, not good with Two of Swords. There's blocks in this person, and the way they work, something in their overall makeup, in their energy, in their chakras is blocked. Their heart energy has some blocks. Their heart energy still has blocks. This person can only love. This person loves the shiny things. That's what I'm going to say. This person, that's why their heart chakra, something's with their heart. They love shiny things, impressive things, things that glitter. They're attracted to things that glitter, pretty things. Let's go on to thoughtful. So for thoughtful, I have the sun. Okay, so there is a whole lot of value now they see in you the longer and longer they spend learning about you, the more and more avenues of wealth appears in their head. They go, ooh, they get all excited. They can barely contain themselves. How and when and where do they start exactly? So much opportunity, where to start, and most importantly, where to start and get everything they'd like out of you. Because there's much to admire, and the admiration has actual tangible things they can already see that you provide. How to go about it the best way. Signs, well, I already said that with air. They could be an air sign. We do have Libra energy now. We're joined by Leo energy. Also, too, I'm going to say with that change of heart, could be in water house areas. Could be obviously in your moon, could also be in their Venus. I'm not going to say fifth house energy, as that's like more fun. I'm not getting fun. I'm going to say house of family, water houses, and Venus. Maybe communication, because we also have something about air. Maybe. It's all about finding the right words to get the right results. Thoughtful, I have tiger. Is anybody born in the year of the tiger? Did something pertinent happen in the last year of whenever the tiger happened? Also, too, someone could have the characteristics of a tiger. Primarily, the characteristics I'm seeing is someone who keeps to themselves, has a tendency to keep to themselves, but when they are in a group, they do shine, but they don't necessarily seek, nor do they necessarily keep with the same group of people consistently. You know, they come in, they come out, they come in, they come out. This person does retreat. Of course, we all retreat in our own ways, some more than others, but obviously some people thrive in the being in the thicket of community, and other people don't quite. POS. So someone is not the best here. I'm also going to say someone could be a third person, could be this other person is not the best here, but it's acknowledged. It's acknowledged the pitfalls, the fractures. Let's see what else is in this thoughtful. SOS. So the negative traits of someone in this energy is quite acknowledged, quite obvious. I don't think the SOS is coming from the same situation, although there may be a mini crisis happening on both sides with change of heart. Also, too, in the energy that I have here with change of heart and thoughtful, someone could be recognizing as well, and maybe this feeds into that energy that we just pulled, that there's a need for a change. Sun and Tiger is also very bold energy. Thoughtful and change of heart, recognizing that there's a need for change. Also, greed is like not wanting to go and lose what they've amassed and add to it. And in order to add to it, to go and keep a certain legacy going, they recognize there's an opportunity here. I have nasty. Also, too, recognize that there's a need for change, but how deeply to get involved? What's the best way to get involved? What's the best way to get involved when you're dealing with people whose elevator only can go to a certain floor and not to the top floor? I'm also going to say, too, with plot and knows your name, that POS energy, piece of poopy energy, is really nasty. This whole energy down here, whole wall is nasty. Person could be born in the year of the tiger. What I say is that whatever negative traits they have, it's quite well known. Person is also an idiot. As I said, their elevator doesn't go up to the top floor. I think as well, despite the fact that this person is so nasty, how to still go and put the whole unit in the best light possible. This person is probably an embarrassment, that POS person. Early. So for early, let's see, is this change of heart, change of heart happening a tad too early? Some movement is happening. Movement is happening with Eight of Wands. I'm going to pull one more tarot on this, on early. Queen of Cups. There's some movement coming to your door a bit faster and or a bit more direct than perhaps you would anticipate or perhaps what you even expect. Could be movement on your end too, traveling to someplace foreign, meeting someone foreign, dealing with foreign situations, dealing with something different, someone different, someplace different. And it's going to happen earlier than you anticipate. You're going to have to be adaptable. Also, too, don't take yourself too seriously. Don't expect anything too serious as well with monkey. Could also be someone born in the year of the monkey, or something relating to something that happened in the year of the monkey. Check them out, those years. But I'm also going to say you're going to have to be adaptable and not adaptable, fluid. Don't take yourself too seriously. Don't take the events that are happening around you seriously as well. Winter. And you have met before. Is this going to happen in the winter? Yeah, that bloodthirsty card out. With bloodthirsty early, 8 of Wands. Something could be sped up that was already planned for winter, by winter. Maturity. And block. I have that block again. I have energy that feels like the same again. Someone was definitely blocked for a long time with 2 of Swords, missing and blocked. I'm going to say someone right now is viewing you as what they could get from you. They're going to attempt to go and bring you in closer and closer to see what it is that they can get from you. And the way this person operates will be quite different from you. This person probably has their own share of things going on. They definitely are attracted to success. And they definitely have an embarrassment that they like to diminish. They can't disappear it, but they can diminish it. They raise up one side as brilliant. It can compensate for that other energy of dumb. Someone's going to use you as a metal to affix to their lapel. That's something to be aware of. And this person will move very cautiously, very carefully, as skillfully as they can manage. How skillful are they? I don't know. I only know that there is one person, one glaring person in the energy that is an idiot. This person, well, I think probably very few people are as much an idiot as that person in that energy. The person that I have that's affixing you as a metal, that is not an idiot. I don't know how smart, but not an idiot. And they see you, or they'll bring you up to shine a light on the positive and have people redirect their attention from the negative, because they like shiny things, and you can make whatever they have shinier. I'm going to go and get some water. Be back in a little bit. If anybody would like a reading, I am around, but I'm going to take a little break. Hello, Leanne. Nice to meet you.